Welcome to Beaded Doilies by Shell. In this video I'm continuing my faceted bead art letter squares. I will be doing the letter F for this video. For this square I did a sort of fire effect, so I will be using two colors in the letter instead of one. And what I do is I just mark every other one so that I know where I want to do the opposite color. And then with faceted bead art patterns, I recommend that you start at the bottom right, so that will be our start. And we'll be using about 3 feet of fishing line. And these are the faceted bead colors I'm going to be using today. And my background color will be the yellow. So that will be the first color I will add, as we are starting with background. So we will add that. Bring both your strings together and just add it to either one, then let it drop. Then you're going to add a bead to both the left and the right string. Both are background color. So we'll add one to the left and one to the right. And then we will cross. And that means you take one, it's going to be background color, and you put it on one and then you cross it with the other one. Bring that down, and there you have your first 4 beads. Now I'm going to take the right string, and I'm going to add 1, 2, 3, 4 beads to it. All background color. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and we'll let them drop down. Then you'll want to find the first one you added and go through it again with the same string in the same direction. And then there you have the first 4 beads of this row. Then you'll want to use the same string, and you will add 1. So the same string that you just put your 4 beads on, you will add 1 to it. Then you'll take both your strings and you will cross 1. And there we have row 1 and row 2. Now you're going to want the string that's on the same side as row 1, and you're going to add 1, 2, and then cross. So we'll add 1, 2, and we'll take both of our strings and cross, third, and there we have our first 2 rows. Now you want the string that's coming out towards the end of your row, and here you're going to add 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's a background color. Our first design color or letter color. I'm going to use red for the ones without marks, and then 2 more background colors. Let them drop, and you'll find the first one, go through it again with the same string in the same direction, And there you have the first 4 beads of this. Now what I like to do is I keep my finished rows to the right. Then I take my 2 strings, I bring them up, and then I will be adding to the left. So there's your first 4. Now you're going to add 1 and cross. Both will be background colors. We're going to add 1, and then we'll take a second one and we will cross it with both strings. There. Now what we want to do is start connecting to the previous row. So we will go through the side bead here, and that we will call our connecting bead. And we'll bring our string up, cross, now 1 and cross. So we will add a background color, and we will cross with the background color. Then we'll go through our next connecting bead. And again we'll add 1 and cross. We add 1 to the left string, and then we cross 1 with both strings. And now we've come to the last 3 beads, so we want the string that's coming in towards our finished rows. And we're going to add 1, 2, and then we're going to cross 1. So we add 1, 2, take both of our strings, and cross. Now we want the string coming out towards the shorter end of our row. And we're going to add 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 4 beads. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let them drop. Then we find the first one we added. Go through it with the same string in the same direction as the first time. There we have our first 4 beads for this row. Now we're going to add and cross, making sure your finished rows are to the right. Bring your string up. We will add a dark color, which is red. A letter color, which this time is red. And then a background color we will cross. My string is wrapped around, so we just unwrap it. Your string gets a little confusing, just go slow so that you can figure it out. Alright, I've got it. Here we are. And if you find your piece is loose, just work it until your string gets tight. Sometimes you need to pull on the bottom one because it's not gotten tightened up to the previous rows correctly. I just find messing with it, the bottom row, and keeping the top tight works it so that it's all laying correctly. Now we want to start going through our connecting beads. Remember to keep your work to the right. Bring your string up. And then we're going to add one and we're going to cross, and this will be our first orange, sorry. Thinking of another pattern I was doing. So we need a background color, and then we need our first orange. Then you'll go through your next connecting bead. Bring your string up. And now we're going to add one and cross, and that will be a red, as it does not have a mark. So we need to add a red, and then we're going to cross with a background color. Then we go through the next connecting bead. Now we're going to add one and cross, and we're going to add a red and cross with an orange. Now we'll go through our next connecting bead. We'll take both our strings. And then we're going to add one and cross. This will both be background color. So we'll add and then cross. Now we've come to the last three. Now this one's going to be done differently because the next row is shorter. So you're going to take the string that is on the same side as your finished rows, and you're going to add all 3 beads to it in this order. Here it's all background color. Then you're going to go through your top bead here where your other string is coming out of. You go through it towards your finished rows, and there you have your last 3 beads on. Now you want to go through this bead away from the beads you just added, and then you want to go out so that your string is coming out the same side your other string is coming out. And then that bead that's right between the two, you're going to cross. And there, string is coming out of that bead. Now we're ready to begin the next row, and we want the string that's coming towards the shorter end of our row. We've added these. We want to add 1, 2, and then cross a third. So we'll add 1, 2, and we'll take both our strings and cross third one. Then once your finished rows are to the right, you'll want to go through your connecting bead and take your 2 strings and bring them up. Now you'll add one and you'll cross, and this one will be an orange as it has a mark on it. So we're going to add a background color, and then we're going to cross with an orange. Then we go through our next connecting bead, bring our string up, and we need to add one and cross. That would be a red and a background color. So we'll add a red, then we will cross with a background color. Then we'll go through our next connecting bead. And now we're going to add one and cross. We're going to add a red and cross with an orange. And now we've come to the last two beads on this row. So what we want is we want the string that we go through our connecting bead with. And we're going to add 1, 2 to it, so both will be background colors. So we add 1, 2 beads. Then the bead here that our other string is coming out of, we want to go through, going towards our finished rows. Then we want to go down away from the beads we just added, and then back out so both of our strings are coming out on the same side. And then we'll cross that bead that's in the middle of the two. And now we want the string that's towards the shorter end of our row. Now we're going to add 1, 2, and then we're going to cross, and that will be orange. So we need 2 background colors. And then we're going to cross with an orange. Then with our finished rows to the right, we will go through our connecting bead. Then we're going to add one and cross. Both will be background colors. So we'll add and cross. Then we'll go through our next connecting bead, and as these are our last two, we'll keep the string that went through the connecting bead in our hand. And we're going to add 1, 2 beads to it. Then we will go through the bead that our other string is coming out of towards our finished rows. Then we'll go away from the beads that were just added and then back out so both our strings are coming out on the same side. We'll cross that bead that's in between the two. And now we're going to tie our knot. Now normally I would tie the knot at the end, but because I'm going to be using these squares in a cube, I want to keep the end bead free. So I'm going to instead tie the knot in this bead here, which is this one. So what I'll do is I'll see which of my strings is longer, take the longer one, and it's good if your design is different here to match it up with your pattern. to see which way you should add your beads. So we'll add them in this direction. And as they are all background colors, it's not a huge deal for this one. Now, what we'll do is we'll tie our knot, but don't pull tight, just make the knot. Then the second time we'll go over twice, called a double overhand knot. Bring that down. And then we'll take the string on the side of the bead we want to put our knot in and slip the string inside the bead. Then we'll pull our knot in. Once it's in, we will then pull tight, making sure our knot is inside there. Okay, and then we're going to go back 2 center beads, and what that means is you'll bead back through a bead on each side, and then you'll cross a bead, and that is what I call the center bead. So that's one. Then you'll go through a bead on each side again. And then you'll cross. And you'll take and trim off the excess. And I like to do that so that the string is not too close to the knot, and that'll help prevent it working itself loose. And there we have our letter F, and watch for the video where I string my beads together and make a cube. Hope to see you there.